Welcome to Tech Road, your guide to navigating the world of technology with clarity and confidence. Today, we're hitting the road for a deep dive into an essential skill for any developer, really, from quick scripts to massive applications, crafting killer prompts. And this isn't just for AI tools, right? It's about clear, effective communication in any development project. We're going to share practical tips to get you the results you need fast and hopefully ensure you're never overwhelmed by information overload.
Exactly. It truly is a fundamental skill that's sometimes overlooked. A well-crafted prompt, it acts as your precise instruction manual. Doesn't matter if it's for an AI assistant or, a human teammate. It just sets the stage for success and, frankly, minimizes wasted effort significantly. We'll explore why this precision matters so much and how you can master it.
Okay, great. So our mission today is simple. Uncover what makes a prompt great. We'll share actionable strategies tailored for everything from, say, your smallest weekend hacks to your largest enterprise projects, and really equip you to get the best possible outcomes. Let's get into it. So let's kick things off by understanding why prompts are so critical. I mean, it might seem obvious, but at its core, a prompt is your instruction manual for the tool or person you're working with. To put it simply, maybe imagine trying to give directions to a friend driving to your house.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy, yeah. If you just vaguely say head north, well, they're likely to get completely lost, frustrated, probably late. But if you provide a clear, structured prompt like, take the second left after the gas station, then go straight for 2 miles, they'll probably arrive without a hitch. And this analogy, it really highlights just how critical precision becomes when you're building software.
Right. So what does this actually mean for you, the listener, when you're deep in coding or maybe project management?
Well, in development, vague prompts are basically a recipe for disaster. Seriously. They waste precious time, they lead to outputs that just don't align with your actual needs, and often result in really frustrating back and forth. Think about asking an AI to just write a program, or maybe telling a teammate vaguely to fix the bug. Without more detail, you're essentially, well, rolling the dice.
Yeah, hoping for the best.
Exactly. But a great prompt, on the other hand, isn't just about saving time. It's more fundamental. It's about shifting your entire development workflow. It moves you from just reacting to bad outputs to proactively designing. It lets you compound your insights with each interaction instead of just fixing errors again and again. It's really about getting it right the first time, or at least getting much, much closer.
That makes perfect sense. Total sense. So, okay, if we agree on the why, let's get into the how.
Yeah.
What are the absolute foundational principles you've seen that consistently lead to great prompts? Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned pro.
Right, that's the key question, isn't it? How do we make instructions universally effective? I think it boils down to 5 core principles. These ensure clarity and reduce ambiguity. They kind of bridge that communication gap. Okay, principle number 1, be specific. This is paramount. Non-negotiable, really. Vague prompts, like write a program. They're almost guaranteed to fail you. Instead, you need to specify the language, the exact functionality, any constraints. For example, explicitly state, write a Python script that sorts a list of integers using the quicksort algorithm with a maximum input size of 1,000. Oh, and the function should be named quicksortlist. See, that level of detail leaves very little room for misinterpretation.
Okay, that makes perfect sense for technical stuff like generating code. But what if I'm using, say, an AI for a more creative brief, like maybe generating marketing copy? How do you balance being specific with, allowing for the AI's creative freedom?
That's a really excellent point, because it's not always about code. Even in those creative tasks, specificity isn't about stifling creativity. It's about guiding it. You specify things like the target audience, the required tone. Is it formal, playful, key messages you need to hit, maybe the desired length? These act like guardrails within which the creativity can actually flourish effectively.
Ah, okay. Guiding, not stifling. I like that.
Exactly. Second principle, provide context. Your tool or your teammate, they are mind readers. You've got to give them the background. What's the project's purpose? What's the scope? Is it a web app, a data pipeline, something else entirely? An example might be, this script is for a mobile app backend that handles user authentication. So it needs to be robust and handle, say, 100 concurrent requests. This context helps the output fit seamlessly into your larger ecosystem. It ensures it's actually appropriate for your specific use case. And what's interesting here is how this links to things like cognitive load in humans, or maybe token limits and attention mechanisms in AI models. The more relevant context you give up front, the less mental effort or computational effort is spent trying to figure out what you actually mean.
Less guesswork. Makes sense.
Precisely. Third principle, Define the output format. Don't leave it open-ended. Tell the tool or person exactly what you want the result to look like. Do you need raw code? Or maybe a high-level architectural diagram like UML, or just a detailed written explanation? You need to say so. For instance, return the code in a single Python file. Make sure it has comments explaining each function and a doc string at the top describing its overall purpose.
Yeah.
This stops you getting, I don't know, a markdown table when you really needed runnable code, or the other way around.
Yeah, been there. Getting the wrong format is surprisingly annoying.
It really is. Okay, fourth principle. Set constraints and goals. Every project has limits, right? Technical ones, financial ones, time limits. Mention any performance requirements, budget restrictions if relevant, security considerations, hard deadlines. For example, if performance is absolutely key, you'd explicitly state, this function must run in ON, log n time on average, meaning it scales efficiently with larger datasets and it should use less than 1 GB of memory. Also, security best practices like input validation are paramount here. These constraints guide the solution towards something that's actually practical and viable in the real world.
Got it. Constraints keep it grounded.
Exactly. And fifth, finally, iterate and refine. This is so important. It's not a one-and-done process. If the initial output isn't quite perfect, don't just get frustrated and bin it. Instead, tweak your prompt, look at what went wrong or what was missing, add more details, clarify the ambiguous parts, and just try again. Think of it like a conversation, a dialogue, not just shouting an order into the void. Each interaction refines your understanding and improves the next output.
That last point about iteration, that's so key. It really makes you think, doesn't it? How many hours have we all collectively wasted just because we didn't take a moment to refine our instructions? Okay, now, let's pivot slightly. Let's talk about small projects. You mentioned weekend hackathons or maybe just a quick one-off script. These are usually fast-paced environments, so your prompts need to be concise but still incredibly precise, right?
Absolutely. For those smaller tasks, yeah, your primary goal is often getting a usable solution quickly. But even with that limited scope, precision is still paramount. It's about hitting the target efficiently with minimal words.
So how do you do that?
Okay, first, keep it focused. Avoid overcomplicating things unnecessarily. Instead of a really broad request like build a calculator app, which can mean almost anything, try something much narrower like create a Python function that takes 2 numbers and an operator string plus read it as input and returns the result. Oh, and make sure it handles division by 0 gracefully. This very narrow scope helps the tool or the person deliver exactly what you need without getting sidetracked by irrelevant features.
Okay, tight focus. What else?
Second, include examples. This is incredibly powerful for removing guesswork, especially for small things. If it's possible, provide a sample input and its expected output. So following that calculator example, for input calculate 5, the function should return 8. For calculate 10, to return 5. And for calculate 7, 0, it should return a specific string like error, division by 0. These concrete examples clarify your intent much, much faster than just abstract descriptions.
Yeah, examples leave no doubt.
Exactly. Third, prioritize speed, if that's what you need. If you need a quick and dirty solution over, say, a perfectly optimized or super robust one, state that explicitly. An example might be, write a simple HTML CSS landing page. Keep it under 200 lines of code. Prioritize responsiveness across devices over advanced styling or complex animations. No JavaScript needed for this version. This clearly directs the tool or person to prioritize rapid output over perfection.
Okay, that's very practical. Here's a real-world example then, just to bring this home for a small project. Imagine you need a quick email validator for a simple web form. Your prompt could be something like, write a JavaScript function to validate an email address using regular expressions. Regex. It should return true if the email is valid, false if not. Include a brief comment explaining the regex pattern used, and please test it with these 2 inputs, user@domain.com and invalid.email, and show the output for both tests. That feels short, incredibly clear, and gives all the necessary details for a fast, accurate delivery.
Perfect example. Concise, specific, testable. That's the goal for small stuff.
All right, so that covers the small scale. Now let's scale up significantly. What if you're tackling enterprise software, complex systems, projects that span multiple months or even years? These large projects, they demand much more structure, more foresight, and a really strategic approach, right? Because the stakes are just so much higher and the potential for miscommunication feels exponential.
Oh, absolutely. When you're dealing with large projects, trying to use a single monolithic prompt for an entire enterprise system, well, it's simply doomed to fail. It won't work. Instead, your prompts need to act more like an orchestrator for a much larger distributed effort, ensuring every single piece contributes coherently to the whole.
So how do you orchestrate that with prompts?
Well, first, you have to break it down. You never, ever try to tackle a massive project in one single prompt. Just too much. Instead, you break the overall task into smaller, manageable, and ideally self-contained pieces or modules. For instance, instead of that vague prompt like, build a full e-commerce platform, which is way too broad, you start with something specific, like design a REST API for user authentication. It needs endpoints for login, sign-up, and password reset. Use Node.js and Express, and it should support JWT tokens for session management. See, that defines a specific, achievable component.
Right, breaking it down into manageable chunks. Makes sense?
Second, provide the big picture context. Even though you're breaking the project down into these smaller pieces, each individual piece still needs to fit correctly into the overall puzzle. So you need to explain the project's overarching goal and how the specific piece you're prompting for right now contributes to that larger vision. For example, this authentication API is part of a larger e-commerce platform. We're designing it to handle potentially 10,000 daily active users with a strong focus on scalability, security, and low latency response times. This particular module is foundational for all user interactions across the platform. This broader context helps guide better design decisions at the component level.
Okay, context is crucial for the individual pieces to fit together.
Precisely. Third, you must specify standards and tools. Large projects almost always come with strict requirements. These might be about technology stacks, specific coding conventions, architectural patterns, or maybe compliance needs like GDPR or high pay. You have to mention these explicitly. Specific frameworks, coding standards like PP8 for Python, architectural patterns like microservices, security protocols, for instance. Follow PP8 guidelines strictly for all Python code. Use Django with PostgreSQL for the database backend, and ensure integration with our existing Prometheus monitoring system via specified metrics. This ensures consistency and compatibility across the entire development team and the growing code base.
Standards maintain order in the chaos, essentially.
Well put. And fourth, request documentation. This is critical for long-term success to ensure maintainability, future collaboration, and just ease of onboarding for new team members down the line. Always ask for supporting documentation as part of the expected output. This could be inline code comments, comprehensive README files, clear API specifications like OpenAPI Swagger, or even architecture diagrams, maybe a UML diagram for class structure. An example prompt addition. Include a UML class diagram showing the structure and relationships for this module. Also provide inline comments for all complex logic sections, and create a comprehensive readme.md file explaining how to set up, configure, and run this service locally.
That's incredibly thorough. It really covers all the bases for a large-scale piece. So here's maybe a powerful sample prompt for a large project piece, putting those principles into action. Design a robust database schema for a new task management application using PostgreSQL. Include tables for users, tasks, and projects. Ensure appropriate primary and foreign keys are defined to maintain data integrity. Provide the SQL, create table code, and also a brief explanation of each table's purpose and its relationships to other tables. Context. The application is expected to support up to 1 million tasks eventually and must prioritize query performance, especially for fetching user-specific tasks and project dashboards. That really feels like it sets clear expectations and guides the output effectively without being overly restrictive.
Exactly. That hits all the key points. Specificity, context, output format, constraints, and implies the need for a well-structured design.
Okay. Now, even with the best intentions and knowing these principles, developers, well, we sometimes mess up our prompts. It happens to the best of us. Let's look at maybe 3 common pitfalls and, more importantly, how you can dodge them.
Yeah, these mistakes often stem from a fundamental misjudgment, usually assuming clarity where there actually isn't any. It really comes down to how the prompt is going to be interpreted, whether that's by an AI or by another human developer.
What's the first big one?
The first pitfall is definitely overloading the prompt, just asking for way too much at once, especially for complex systems. Try to describe an entire application, front-end, back-end, database, everything, in one single prompt. It's just a recipe for a generic, unusable, probably incorrect response. So instead of that, build a full-stack app monstrosity. Break it into smaller, digestible prompts. For example, start with create a React front-end component for to-do list. It should display tasks fetched from the app-tasks endpoint. Then you can move on to the backend API endpoint, then the database schema in subsequent focused prompts.
Ah, yes, I remember trying something like that early on, getting an AI to build an entire inventory system with just one prompt. The output was predictably a generic mess. It's so tempting, though, to just dump everything in there.
It absolutely is. The allure of the magic button is strong. And that leads perfectly into the second common pitfall, assuming knowledge. You should never assume the AI or another developer automatically knows your project's intricate context, or your team's internal jargon, or any unstated requirements. Always provide the necessary background, even if it feels completely obvious to you. Remember, their perspective is different from yours. They don't have your mental model of the project built up over weeks or months. If your system uses a specific non-standard caching strategy or particular error handling pattern your team prefers, you need to mention it explicitly.
Don't assume mind reading. Got it. What's the third one?
The third common pitfall is ignoring iteration, or maybe giving up too easily. If the initial output isn't quite right, don't just get frustrated, sigh, and give up, or worse, accept a subpar result just to move on. That's honestly a waste of the effort you already put into crafting that initial prompt. Instead, refine your prompt based specifically on what went wrong or what was missing. For instance, if the AI gave you Python 2 code, but you absolutely needed Python 3, your follow-up prompt shouldn't just be try again. It should be explicit. Please rewrite the above code using Python 3.11 syntax. Specifically, make sure to use f-strings instead of dot format, and avoid print statements used as functions. This actively teaches the tool or guides your teammate toward the correct solution.
Right. Use the bad output as feedback to improve the input. That makes sense. Okay, here's maybe a pro tip that kind of combines several of these ideas. If you're feeling unsure about a particularly complex prompt, maybe test it on a small scale first. Try it out on a tiny, isolated feature, or perhaps the simplified version of the core problem before you apply it to a massive, critical part of your project. This kind of low-stakes test run can quickly reveal ambiguities or missing information in your prompt before they cause major headaches down the road.
That's excellent advice. Pilot testing your prompts is a very smart strategy.
All right, before we wrap up this deep dive, let's give our listeners some really practical tips and maybe tools they can use to truly level up their prompt writing game. We want to ensure you're not just getting results, but getting great results consistently.
Yeah, these strategies are about building that muscle memory for good prompt design, making your whole prompt creation process more efficient, repeatable, and ultimately more effective.
So what's the first tip?
First, consider using templates. Create a prompt template, maybe for your team, or even just for your personal use. A good template acts like a checklist, right? It ensures you cover all the essential bases every time. It might look something like task. Clearly describe the task and the desired outcome. Language framework. Specify the required tech, output format, code diagram, text, JSON, etc. Constraints. List performance, security, budget, or other limits. Example, provide input-output if applicable. Context. Briefly explain the project's purpose and where this fits in. Using a template ensures consistency and really helps prevent you from forgetting crucial details under pressure.
Templates for consistency. I like that. What's next?
Second, leverage AI feedback. This is a bit meta, but powerful. If you're primarily using an advanced AI tool for generating code or content, don't just use it to generate the output. Turn the tables. Ask the AI to critique your own prompt. For example, after writing your main prompt, you could append a question like, critique this prompt. Is it clear enough? Are there any ambiguities? What additional details could I provide to get the best possible output for the described task? Now, you can learn an immense amount from its analysis, and it helps you refine your own prompt engineering skills over time.
Asking the AI to help improve the asking. Interesting.
It works surprisingly well. Third, test incrementally. We touched on this as a way to avoid pitfalls, but it's also a powerful proactive tip in its own right. Especially for big multi-component projects, test your prompts on smaller, isolated components or modules first. This ensures they're perfectly clear and effective at that granular level before you attempt to scale them up to generate larger, more complex parts of your system. Validate early, validate often.
Makes sense. De-risk the process.
Exactly. And fourth, learn from examples. You are definitely not alone on this journey. The developer community is a huge treasure trove of knowledge. Look at communities on platforms like X, GitHub, Stack Overflow, Reddit, wherever developers congregate online. Search for terms like AI prompt engineering examples, good code generation prompts, or maybe prompts specific to the framework you're using. See how others are crafting effective instructions. There's often no need to completely reinvent the wheel when a great example or pattern is just a quick search away.
Great advice. Don't work in a vacuum. And also, remember to explore any advanced features in your chosen AI tools. Many cutting-edge platforms now offer specialized modes, things like deep search modes for integrating real-time information, or maybe specific think modes designed for more nuanced reasoning or complex problem solving. For instance, some tools like Grok offer unique features specifically aimed at deeper reasoning. It's worth checking your tool's documentation. Discover how these advanced capabilities might dramatically elevate the quality of the output you get from your prompts.
Definitely worth investigating the full capabilities of whatever tool you're using.
Okay, that feels like a good place to wrap up today's deep dive. Crafting great prompts, it really is like writing good code, isn't it? It takes practice, it requires clarity, and it demands constant iteration and refinement. Whether you're working on a quick, focused script or orchestrating a massive, complex system, try to remember those core principles we discussed. Be specific, provide that crucial context, define your desired output format, set clear constraints, and always be ready to iterate and refine as you go. Mastering this skill, it will dramatically improve your productivity, seriously reduce frustration, and significantly boost the quality of your output, no matter who or what you're prompting.
Yeah, absolutely. We really hope this deep dive has given you some significant aha moments and hopefully armed you with practical, immediately applicable strategies you can try out today. Understanding not just what to ask for, but how to ask for it effectively. It's just fundamental in navigating today's rapidly evolving tech landscape. You could almost say it's the secret sauce to getting the most out of your tools and maybe even your teams.
Well said. Okay, before we sign off, here's maybe a thought for you to chew on. If you find you're consistently getting suboptimal results, whether it's from an AI or even a human teammate, is
Yeah.
the problem truly with the output, the result you're getting? Or could it actually be a subtle, maybe unnoticed flaw in your own input, the prompt itself? Something worth considering. We'd love to hear your favorite prompt writing tips, or maybe your most surprising success story, or even a prompt fail that taught you a valuable lesson. Share them with us on X using the hashtag the deep dive tech. And please let us know what other topics you want us to cover next time on the deep dive. Until then, keep coding, keep prompting, and keep building awesome things.